How would you like a 15% discount to my daily email, the stack of stuff, the show notes, discounts to the conference, all of that? All you need to do is text the word show to 33777. You'll get the annual subscription with a 15% discount to my daily email. You'll get the stack of stuff, the links to the show notes, discounts to the conference, and so much more. All you have to do is text the word show, SHOW, to 33777. Text show to 33777.
Welcome to the Eric Erickson Show podcast, Hour 2.
Hello, America. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. I am delighted to have you with me. The phone number, should you wish to be on the program, is 877-973-7425. We need to talk about the garbage moment because it's rather significant in the grand scheme of things. I think the way that the whole election is playing out, and I want to begin by going back to a clip I played in the last hour. First, let's set the stage. Joe Biden, 2 nights ago, says this.
Or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization of things is unconscionable, and it's un-American.
That was Joe Biden. Now, that was Joe, and now this is Frank Luntz on CNN yesterday talking about this.
Why do you argue that this might be the big issue?
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum, I don't know who's going to win. I can't call it, and nobody should, because statistically and polling and focus groups, it is way too close to call. However, the momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor. And so every word, every phrase, every misstep, every gaffe matters as those last remaining persuadables make their decision.
He's right. It is an extremely close race. No one really knows who's going to win. The Trump supporters think it's them. The Harris supporters think it's them. The polling suggests no one really knows. The early vote totals, women are dominant in early voting. That should help Harris. But in certain states, Republicans are surpassing Democrats. That should help Donald Trump. We just don't know. And to Luntz's point, all the missteps, all the gaffes in a very close race, at the very end, they matter. And into that last night came a garbage truck. This is CNN last night. Now, you're going to hear Wolf Blitzer talking, and they do the breaking news graphic and sounder. And suddenly, on the other side of the graphic and sounder, it's Donald John Trump, former president of the United States, taking questions from the media in a garbage truck.
I'm going to interrupt you for a moment. Stand by for a moment. Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
He said the military could be used, that the military or the National Guard could be used on election day if necessary. Can you explain what you meant by that?
I don't think they'll have to be used. I think we're going to have a big victory, and I think 250 million people in this country are going to be very happy.
I need to tell you something, and then I've got some clips from Donald Trump to play. I've run campaigns. I've never run a presidential campaign, but I've run campaigns. The ability to execute on a dime, procure a garbage truck and a vest for Donald Trump in less than 24 hours after Joe Biden uttered his line, shake up a campaign event, and do a press conference from inside the garbage truck is a remarkable campaign operation. The advance team was firing on all cylinders. The campaign management team was functioning at a competent, highly proficient level. Kamala Harris's campaign is incapable of rearranging her schedule to go see Joe Rogan. Donald Trump's team was able to find and procure a garbage truck and a vest overnight for Donald Trump. And he ate it up. This is Donald Trump on the campaign trail. Now, I can't play all this because he gets into some profanity here along the way, but this is Donald Trump on the campaign trail last night talking about the garbage truck and how it came about.
Thank you very much. So this outfit, is when he called us all garbage. How stupid. What a stupid word. That blows deplorable away, don't you think? Of course, I thought irredeemable when she said deplorable or irredeemable. I thought irredeemable was actually worse, but deplorable seemed to catch up. But this garbage stuff blows it away. So I'm in this beautiful plane. I'm enjoying myself. I have a wonderful suit on. And one of my people came in and said, "Sir, the word garbage is the hottest thing right now out there. The hottest thing out there. Sir, would you like to drive a garbage truck?" Now, we're about, 30 minutes from landing. We had to do this pretty quick. I said, "It's sort of cool, though, isn't it? Because, And I said, I think that's okay, but, I don't feel comfortable wearing a suit." And they pulled up this garbage truck. I don't know how the hell they did it so fast. I have very capable people.
And, that's the point. He had very capable people able to do that. I don't know that the Kamala Harris team was capable of doing that. And these are all the signs of a campaign that is firing on all cylinders, whether or not you like Donald Trump. This is a campaign firing on all cylinders. In a less than a 24-hour period, they were able to take an event in Wisconsin and change it to frame it to amplify what Joe Biden had said as a derogatory comment and make it as a badge of honor, and then to have him get on stage to give his speech in this orange vest. He had this funny exchange with the crowd about that.
And I said, "No way. I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage." They said, "Oh, okay, sir." I said, "Get me my jacket." But if you did, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, "Oh." And they got me. I said, "I want to wear it on stage."
Okay. All right. Let me put this in perspective for you. This is a man who's having fun. This is a man who's having fun. This is a man who is enjoying himself on stage. He made fun of the press and said, if I don't get into this trash truck, if I look like a fool climbing into this garbage truck, they're going to say, "Oh, he's got mental problems. He's declined, cognitive issues." And the crowd started laughing and booing at members of the media. He's having fun. Does Kamala Harris look like she is having fun? She doesn't. She looks miserable on the campaign trail. And he's got to be having some level of fun to be able to pull this stuff off and to be able to chime in quickly. And he's got Brett Favre there. Brett Favre, this is in Wisconsin. I am an owner of the Green Bay Packers. I don't know if you know that or not. I also grew up in Dubai. I am an owner of the Green Bay Packers. And Brett Favre is beloved by our tribe. Aaron Rodgers got a little flaky. Brett Favre remained kind of a hero. And he's on stage endorsing Donald Trump in Wisconsin.
I want to address the comment that Joe Biden made yesterday or last night that said the supporters of Donald Trump, us, or garbage. I can assure you we're not garbage. How dare he say that looking out? I see police officers, teachers, nurses, grandparents, students. I see everyday Americans that make this country great.
That's Brett Favre, hero of Wisconsin, a football legend, endorsing Donald Trump, denouncing Joe Biden for saying that they're garbage. And by the way, they got problems on the Democratic side with that. Why? Here's David Chalane talking on CNN.
President Biden's garbage comment. It got Kamala Harris's. It got in the way of Kamala Harris's message over the past couple of days. Does Harris have a Biden problem?
Harris has a Biden problem, but it's not what he said in his what he claims was his misconstrued statement about garbage and Donald Trump's the speaker at Donald Trump's rally at Madison Square Garden. Her Joe Biden problem is that he's the incumbent president of her party. She serves with him, and his approval rating is down at 36%. That is her Joe Biden problem. So I'm not sure that this moment of his garbage comments did anything other than perhaps give the Trump campaign something to seize on from a message perspective, put him in a garbage truck to take questions from reporters and allow them to try and get off their back heels where they had been for a few days based on the Madison Square Garden rally, Kate. Yeah. But that doesn't mean she doesn't have a Joe Biden problem. She does. It's the fact that he's wildly unpopular.
Yes, he's wildly unpopular and caused her a greater misstep with the garbage remark. And on top of that, you still got the right track, wrong track number in the state of play for this election. This is Harry Eaton on CNN with John Berman.
Yeah, Republicans have been registering voters in big, huge numbers. They have been gaining in party registration versus the Democrats in the swing states with party registration. We're talking Arizona. I think it's a 5-point. They've expanded their lead from 5 points from where it was back in 2020. How about Nevada? Big Republican registrations there. They like the early vote. How about North Carolina?
I think I'm playing the wrong clip there. Yes, I am. That's okay. But Harry Eaton's point is that the latest right track, wrong track number in this country, 27% of Americans believe that this country is on the wrong track, and no incumbent party, forget the incumbent person, the incumbent party has never won re-election when the right track number has been that low. You got Harris bogged down by Joe Biden, Harris bogged down by the right track, wrong track number. You've got the Trump campaign able to execute on a dime to procure a garbage truck and an orange vest for Donald Trump, and he looks like he's having fun. She looks absolutely miserable on the campaign trail. Again, the polling is so close. Trump supporters don't appreciate how many people just dislike him and won't vote for him. But Harris supporters don't appreciate how many people dislike Trump but liked his policies enough to vote for him. So neither side really can process why this election is so close. But it is. But I'm with Frank Luntz. Can't tell you who's going to win, but the momentum certainly does seem to be headed towards Donald Trump. His campaign team is able to execute on a dime a brilliant play to draw attention to Joe Biden's remarks, putting Kamala Harris back on defense. They wanted to talk. The Harris team wanted to talk about the Trump rally at Madison Square Garden and her contrasting speech on Tuesday night, and instead we're talking about a dementia-addled vegetable president calling half of Americans garbage, with the media destroying their own credibility to pretend he didn't say what he actually said. That's not a good sign if you're a Democrat. Objectively speaking, it is just not a good sign for the incumbent party when they are on defense 5 days before a presidential election because of the remarks of the incumbent president of the United States. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States. The phone number 877-973-7425. I can squeeze in a phone call here from Bart. Welcome to the show, Bart. How are you?
Yeah, hey, I'm doing fine, Eric. Let me turn off the radio here.
Yep.
Hey, yeah, I've been playing with an interactive electoral college map. I'm a numbers guy, and I came to a horrifying conclusion, is that Wisconsin and Nevada don't mean anything to the Trump campaign unless they flip some other state that's not a toss-up state because of the one electoral vote in Omaha. Because if they win Nevada and Wisconsin, they get 268, and Harris gets 269. So the real keys are Michigan and Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
It's scary. It is really scary.
Yeah, look, it's a very tight election, and it's even tight in the reflection of the Electoral College. They feel kind of comfortable, the Trump campaign does, with their direction in Michigan. They're not sure they're going to win it. They actually feel more confident in Michigan than they do Wisconsin, from what I've been told by the campaign. Michigan has 15 Electoral College votes. Pennsylvania, of course, has 19. If they're able to win, if they're able to sweep, and I don't know that they'll win Nevada, but if they win Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, they got 296 Electoral College votes. You add in Wisconsin, you're over 300. And again, here's my thing. When you have places like New Mexico and Virginia that feel like a momentum shift has taken place towards the GOP, that it's not that they're going to win it. But as I talked to Senator Ricketts of Nebraska yesterday, when momentum shifts in this country in a nationwide race, it's not piecemeal. It doesn't go in one direction in Pennsylvania and another direction in Arizona. It all goes in the same direction. That was the pattern in 1980. That was the pattern in 1992. That was the pattern in 1994. It's the pattern in 2000. It's the pattern in 2016. When momentum begins to shift in the nation politically, that momentum flows across the nation. So if a state like Virginia and a state like New Mexico are shifting towards the GOP, it doesn't mean Republicans are going to win. But if it's detectable in those states, in even narrower states like a Pennsylvania where it's tied, the momentum crosses into a win for Donald Trump. And again, it's very, very close. We don't know who's going to win, but I completely believe the momentum is still headed towards the Trump campaign in these final days. And I think it had the potential to not. The Sunday night rally in Madison Square Garden, I think, really did have the potential to sabotage the Trump campaign and give Kamala Harris a narrow win. I really do believe that until Joe Biden opened his mouth on Tuesday and sabotaged all of the momentum. Look, put it to you this way. Kamala Harris was set this week to compare and contrast the Madison Square Garden rally with her Tuesday night event on the Mall. And instead, everybody's talking about Joe Biden's garbage comment on both sides of the aisle. That is a remarkable turn of events that shifts this to Donald Trump. Now, even as it shifts to Donald Trump, we've still got to deal with bank collapses. We've got to deal with the economic situation in the country and interest rates the way they are. Swiss America has been the trusted leader in precious metals for 40 years, and they've been warning people about a secret war on cash for some time. If you're interested in safeguarding your hard-earned cash from this war on cash, well, you need their free report. It takes less than 10 minutes to read. It can help you on your retirement and finances. They are rated A+ by the Better Business Bureau. Get your free copy by calling and texting 800-289-2646. The war on cash, by the way, it includes digital forms of currency. It's growing. It's spreading. So read the Secret War on Cash report. You can get it completely for free. All you do is call or text my name, Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646. You call them at 800-289-2646. You tell them Eric sent you, or you just text Eric, E-R-I-C-K, to 800-289-2646 and get this report completely for free from Swiss America. 800-289-2646. Message and data rates may apply. Hello there. Welcome. It is Eric Erickson here across the United States of America. The phone number is 877-973-7425. All right, I'm going to go to the phone call. Phones. Is it Raina who's been waiting so patiently? Did I totally screw up your name?
You totally screwed it up, but it's okay.
Okay, no, but I want to know. What? Okay, how do you pronounce it?
It's Raina.
Raina. Okay, right there you go. Okay. Yes. All right. See, I'm from Louisiana. You gotta excuse me. I'm half Cajun and half Swedish. We don't know English.
It's okay. I have a question. It's totally off topic, but I've been seeing a lot of ads by Kamala, and I was just a little confused. She keeps saying that she's going to lower taxes. If they're in the White House right now, shouldn't the taxes already have been lower from when Trump was in office? So what taxes
Raina, you're not allowed to ask. You're not allowed to ask that question. That's too commonsensical. You're not allowed to ask that question. Okay, now I gotta ask you a question before I answer your question. This is very important. You said Kamala, not Kamala, And it is my understanding from the Democrats that that pronunciation is racist. Are you a racist for calling her Kamala instead of Kamala?
Well, I'm black, so I doubt it. According to them, black people can't be racist. So
it really is. I heard you. It's like, yeah. I got to deal with you there for just a minute. So here's what she's saying. And first of all, let's deal with your direct point. Yes, they could have done this for the last 4 years, and they haven't done it. What she's trying to say is, so because of the way Donald Trump structured his tax cuts in 2018, they automatically go away in 2025. They're just gone. All the tax rates that existed before the tax cuts go back up. So what Kamala Harris is actually trying to argue is that in her tax cuts, what she's going to do is preserve a portion of Donald Trump's tax cuts. And because it's not going to get done on day one, like January 1st, taxes will have gone back up. And then she'll restore the tax rates for some people, meaning she's giving you a tax cut. It is a real sleight of hand what she's doing. Does that make sense?
it makes sense. So I have another question. So when they say like Barack Obama, he's like, oh, Trump just wanted to give tax cuts to wealthy people. Isn't he considered wealthy?
Yes. Yes, he is. And here's also the other thing is I distinctly remember getting $1,000 in my paycheck as an employee of my company because they cut corporate taxes, and almost every worker of a major company in this country got extra money after the corporate income tax was cut. And Nancy Pelosi said that $1,000 was nothing. It was for a lot of people. And also the majority of the people who benefited from the Trump tax cut made less than $400,000 a year. So when he says that Trump wants to just cut taxes for the wealthy, that's what Democrats say, but it actually wasn't true based on his tax plan. So yeah, but those are the sorts of things I guess at this point both sides are saying. But yeah, and I gotta say, God bless you for paying attention to what all these people are saying. At this point, I just assume they're all lying and tune them out. It really.
Well, I appreciate you for taking my call.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks. Call anytime. Raina, I will get your name right next time, too. 877-973-7425. Now, y'all, I got to go take one more call. And I need you to know, this is the way calls happen on this program. When they come in, I see the phone number. I see the name. And then I see what they want to talk about. I don't know what John wants to talk about. This is what my call screener left on the screen. Quote, figured you needed a compliment today. This might be 3 for the year. You're welcome. This is what I put up with as a gracious and kind employer of people who couldn't get a job elsewhere. So, John, you're willing to compliment me. I welcome you to make it past my call screener. Thank you for calling.
Can you hear me, Eric?
I can hear you.
All right. Great. Yeah, here's your compliment for today, Eric. And I promise to make this quick. I really do. But first of all, I'm, like everybody else, very concerned that if Kamala gets the nomination, that we're in big trouble on all kinds of fronts and so forth. Mostly, frankly, for me, internationally. I mean, the strength that Russia, China, North Korea, and Iran have found in the last 3.5 years under Biden is just really scary to me. But the one thing you said, Eric, which I so appreciate, and it stops me from being depressed, is I'm a Christian, as I know you are a very devout one, and your comment that, well, you know, God is in control. If you get real upset because Kamala gets elected, you know, that's it's going to be disappointing for me, but I can live with it knowing that God is in control. And I appreciate when you go on your religious kind of, I'm not going to call them tirades, but when you explanations, they are just so to the point and so effective. So There's
Well,
your
I'm
compliment
glad.
today.
Okay,
You're appreciated.
I hope the program directors of America listen to you say that, John. I hope they're listening. I know my audience, and look, I really do appreciate it, and I really do mean it. I get attacked very frequently these days. How could you make this joke or say this thing? You call yourself a Christian, and look, I'm a Christian. I'm also a sinner. And sometimes I have a sense of humor that other people don't like. And you know what the worst things about the modern age and social media is this idea that I can't tell a joke or say something because someone, most often a woman, gets furious with me. That's not funny. You call yourself a Christian. I do. And I'm pretty sure Jesus had a great sense of humor. Have you seen the platypus? He had a great sense of humor when he was creating things back in the day. And but yeah, to John's point though, look, one, thank you for getting past the call screener to say something nice about me. It's very rare. He allows like 3 or 4 of these a year. But secondly, y'all, I don't know what's going to happen on Election Day, but I know we're going to be okay. I may not like the outcome, but we're going to be okay. I am old enough to remember that the 2022 election was, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2020 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2018 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2016 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2014 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2012 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2010 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2008 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2006 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. And the 2004 election, if we didn't get it right, it was going to be the end of the world. The end of the world has been coming. We've won some of those, we've lost some of those, and the world has come to an end. The country has not come to an end. We may not like what we get, but winning elections does matter. But on the big things, by and large, doesn't matter who gets elected in Washington, D.C. Washington really doesn't affect your life that much. Taxes, Obamacare, okay, sure. But on your daily life, not really. Washington doesn't fix the pothole. Washington doesn't deal with the local police. Washington's not educating your school or your kid in the public school. Washington's not driving you to and from work. Washington's not doing much anything in your daily life. There are certainly things that Washington impacts economically, with healthcare, with costs, all those things. Yes, absolutely. But on a daily basis, it impacts you the least. And people are whipped into an existential frenzy about, oh my gosh, this person I hate got elected. Here's the problem, though, is we all know, every one of us knows, if Donald Trump wins, angry Antifa activists are going to try to burn this country down. I saw a poll that majority of Americans are worried about violence should Donald Trump lose. No, I'm not worried about violence if Donald Trump loses. I'm worried about violence if Donald Trump wins, because Antifa is going to burn the country down. And the media is going to excuse it as a fiery but mostly peaceful protest. They'll justify it. But it's going to be okay. I know it's hard for some people. And if it is hard for you, I say it lovingly, but it's a painful truth. One you're not going to like. But if you are driven to existential terror over who might be the next president of the United States, you are worshiping idols. You have made politics your religion. Because if you're that worried about a president of the United States, who on a daily basis doesn't really impact you that much, you're worried that your God is vulnerable. Thankfully, I worship a God who is not vulnerable, who is on the throne and can't be beaten. And because I'm putting my trust in him and not in princes and politicians who can't open a door to salvation for me, I'm going to be fine. Doesn't matter what happens. It is not a coincidence, I think, in this country that our dread of presidential elections increased as our church attendance decreased. People have just swapped the real God for an idol. It's not to say we're not going to get bad policies or bad things we don't like. I mean, look, we got reckless inflation in this country because of the Biden administration's policies. A president's economic policies genuinely wrecked the economy and drove up prices. Yes, I don't deny that a president can impact the economy and things. But I also think it's not as meaningful on a daily basis as most people think. We don't have to think about the president on a daily basis. We don't have to. Our city council and our school board and our county commission affect us more. But regardless of how the election turns out, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. We'll be fine. We may not like some of the policies, but we'll be fine. Tim in Orlando, Florida, you're going to be next. Welcome to the show.
Hey there, Eric. How you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Pleasure, absolute honor to talk to you. So I was telling a call screener something I'm a Marine vet. I was in from 08 to 18, and a demographic I haven't really heard spoken about is the active duty military population. I was just wondering how much that comes into play as far as them being out on the campaign trail and how much an impact that plays in the election process.
That's a great question. And I have actually seen some of the data so far that the majority of the military tends to vote Republican. There are some Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Some Democrats are out there saying, actually, they're not voting for Donald Trump. They're voting for Kamala Harris. I can't see any data. When they say this, they have no data. All the data I see is that a majority of the troops are backing Donald Trump. And, I mean, why wouldn't they? I mean, he was the one president in my lifetime who didn't start a war somewhere, whether I thought he needed to or not. Yeah.
I mean, a good chunk of my time in was with Obama, and it was an absolute nightmare for us, as far as funding and everything went for.
Well, and,
like
Tim, to that point as well, one of the things I have seen is that Tim Walz has dragged down Kamala Harris's support among the military because most people in the military have processed the fact that he did lie about his military record, and they're not big fans of Tim. Yeah, it really is. And, of course, the media tried to excuse it. So, Tim, look, thanks for the phone call. I think the military, the problem is as a demographic group, the military is not a large enough to shift an election, but it's influential when so many members of the military are voting for one party. People should pay attention to that. Now, I got to tell you about the Eden Pure Thunderstorm. You should pay attention to this, too. If you go to EdenPureDeals.com and you put in ERIC3, ERICK3, as a discount code, you can get 3 Eden Pure Thunderstorms. What are they? They're air purifiers. So they get rid of dust. They get rid of pollen. They get rid of things floating in the air with electrostatic plates, too, so you don't have to get a filter subscription. But I don't use my Eden Pure Thunderstorm as an air purifier, to be honest with you. I use it. I keep it in my travel bag. I can hold it in my hand. It's powerful and it's small. I keep one in my travel bag. I use it as an odor eliminator because it wipes out any odor. It wipes out wet dog odor. It wipes out litter box odor. It wipes out a dirty diaper odor. It wipes out I cooked shrimp in the house and didn't want my wife to know odors. It wipes out smoke odors. I've used it in a rental car. I've used it in a hotel room that was smoky. I've used it in a hotel room because the people in the room next door to me were smoking. And it wipes out the odors. It just works. EdenPureDeals.com is the website. EdenPureDeals.com. Use the discount code ERIC3, ERICK, the number 3. You get 3 of them for less than $200, and you save $200. Hello and welcome. It is Eric Erickson here. The phone number 877-973-7425. If you'd like to be on the program, I want to go to Steve's phone call. Steve, welcome to the show. How are you?
Great, Eric, and I appreciate your reasoned discussion about things that, can easily get out of hand. And as you went back through the years of, this will be the end of the republic or the democracy, depending on if we don't win this next election. My question is, and then I got another question about another Eric, but quick, just to mention him quickly. But anyway, do you believe that the rate of change of things heading in the wrong direction is accelerating?
I kind of do. And I think it's partly if I tell you exactly what I think, a spiritual issue more than anything else. I think that the decline that we're seeing in this country mentally, physically, in rates of mental health, in rates of despair, in rates of engagement in community has way more to do with a spiritual crisis in the country brought on by COVID isolation, but beginning before COVID isolation. That was just a catalyst to it. And that decline is a choice, but a lot of us have chosen to embrace that decline in various ways, which is a problem.
Yes, sir. And so that brings me to the other Eric. And I know he believes exactly what you said, but I believe it goes back a lot longer as far as the spiritual decline. If you go to the Ben Carson in a recent Trump rally mentioned this document that was entered into the congressional record in 1963 by Sid Herlong of Florida, 45 communist goals to destroy America from within. And if you look at that playbook, you'll see exactly about 90% of what's happened has been explained in that document, which, of course, is put together by godless tyrants. But anyway, the other guy that I would love to hear you speak with on the air is Eric Metaxas, because I think there's some differences between you, but your basic tenets are in alignment.
Yeah, his Bonhoeffer book, I think, is one of the better biographies of Bonhoeffer I read. I think we're actually on about the same time of day, and he's on a different radio network, so it wouldn't really be possible to get him on my show. But I am a little bit, I don't know, he's gotten a little bit too partisan for me. I just think if you write a book about Bonhoeffer who stands up and denounces essentially his own side, if a guy like that writes a book about Bonhoeffer, that guy should also be willing to stand up and not have to apologize for his own side, but hold his own side accountable. And I've been a little disappointed in Metaxas because of that these last few years. But the book on Bonhoeffer was solid. All right, I don't have enough time to take another phone call right now, but I will when we come back. And also, there is an incredible report in the Free Press about teachers in progressive states at the kindergarten level who have decided it's time to go full bore towards indoctrination. Who cares about education? We've got to get these kids involved on the right side of history, which is always a dangerous thing. And that ties into a piece by Matt Bai, a columnist of the Washington Post, demanding George W. Bush stand up and denounce Donald Trump in order to be on the right side of history. The left sure is focused on being on the right side of history because they don't believe in God. They don't care about being on the right side of God. They want to be on the right side of a history that they themselves think they create as they are the gods. And I want to get into that when we come back. First, the indoctrination of our kids in public schools, it's spreading. I've got the details right here on the Eric Erickson Show. We'll be right back.